and welcome to the Biddy Tarot podcast. I am so excited to be joined today by one of our certified Biddy Tarot advisors, Nicole Pearson. Now, Nicole is a certified Reiki Master, a sound healer, an intuitive psychic, an evidential medium, which I can't wait to find out more about what that actually means, and of course, a certified Biddy Tarot advisor. Now, in 2021, Nicole experienced a really transformative spiritual awakening after she lost her mum, and also experienced a series of other life-altering events that activated her spiritual gifts at that time. And now she is out reading for so many people around the world, and her style is really intuitive, experiential, compassionate, yet direct. And through divine guidance, Nicole provides a really safe space, guiding her clients on a journey of the soul by connecting with the truth of their heart. So I'm excited to hear more about Nicole's journey. But before we jump into that, hi, welcome, Nicole. How are you doing today?
Hi, Bridget. I'm wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure. I'm really excited to hear more about your story. Tell me a little bit about where your journey with tarot in particular began and when your spiritual gifts started to awaken.
My journey with tarot began long ago when I was a little girl. Actually, my mom introduced me to tarot. She read just for herself and close friends, but I would see all of these tarot cards around the house, all these tarot books around the house, and so I was curious. I would peek at it. But I didn't really scratch the surface until my 20s. Actually, when I started dating, because I was like, I need answers. What is going on? So yeah, my
Yeah.
journey
So,
looked young ago.
yeah. And what do you think it was that attracted you to the tarot cards in the first place, like when you were younger?
I don't know. I know this now. I didn't know it then. I mean, I'm a Cancer moon. I'm a Virgo rising. So I just think naturally my spirit, my soul, I'm a life path 9. So I'm a hermit. So I'm just a natural seeker of wisdom and truth and all of those things. So my soul obviously knew those things before I did. And so I was just always naturally gravitating to like the occult, mysticism, spirituality.
Yeah. And yeah, it's interesting. I think many people experience that kind of like a sacred remembering when they pick up the cards, and something that really calls on a much deeper level than just like, oh, these are really pretty, but something actually activates. And I'm curious, when you started to re-engage with tarot, like in your 20s, for dating, what did you experience then? Was it a little bit more like, okay, is this person going to check out, are we on a good path together? What happened then?
Right. Then I was just so inexperienced. I was just like getting all of these cards. I'm like, I don't know what this means, trying to like look up all these meanings. And it was just a complete overwhelming experience. And so I was like, okay, I need to check in with actual professional tarot readers for guidance. But it didn't stop me from trying. And again, I touched the surface of tarot many times before I got it, and just like really stuck with it. I threw several decks away, and it just for me, after my spiritual awakening, after my mom passed, it felt like home to me. And so I really just leaned into it, leaned into what my spirit was calling me to do, and just really honoring myself, honoring my authenticity. And tarot has just been transformative for me. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about what transpired in 2021, because I think that was quite a pivotal time for you, and when a lot of these gifts started to activate. Can you tell me more?
Yeah, so like my mom passed at the end of December, December 2020. And from there, 2021 is when I feel like I started on this my spiritual journey and my healing journey. And with that, and with me being a hermit, I just naturally went inward, for introspection and reflection and just healing myself. Um, and and using the tarot cards, not only tarot cards, but I also integrated oracle cards with it. And it really helped me understand who I was becoming, what I was supposed to be doing, what path I was supposed to be going on. Because when my mom was here, she would always say, Nikki, you're always soul searching. And, that is part of the hermit, not knowing that. And so I really just turned inward to myself, and I spent a lot of time in stillness so that I could hear spirit, so that I could hear God's voice on how to heal myself, how to move forward on this journey. Because losing your mom, and I
Mm.
also lost my dad as well in that time period, 19 months later. So I was like, the two people that really knew me are gone. Like, what, like I had to, and I just felt like no one's coming to save me, because my mom, the one person that could and would, she was no longer here. So I really, turned to my spiritual team for love, healing, guidance, and they haven't failed. And using the tarot cards, using my oracle cards, have like created a bridge of communication between me and the spirit.
Mm. Yes. Yeah. Actually, I lost my dad about 10 years ago, and probably in the last sort of year, no, it would have been a little bit more actually, 2 years, he was nonverbal. So he had dementia for a long period of time and ended up as nonverbal and probably in quite a lot of distress. But what I learned over that time was to communicate and connect and relate in a way that's different to what we normally do. Like in this kind of 3D world, we think, oh, you've got the physical person, you can communicate and talk, but
Mhm.
actually there's something so much deeper that we can share and connect on an energetic level. And even since his passing, I learned so much more about how to connect on in different spiritual realms. And I'm curious, if you had a similar experience, and can you speak a little bit more to what you personally discovered about our connections with people who have passed, and particularly loved ones?
Yeah. So again, tarot has been the gateway, the bridge, and from that, as you mentioned, I am a Reiki master, and just in my healing sessions, in my sound sessions, natural intuitive information would start to come to me when I would touch the individual. Um, and it was just starting to happen more and more frequently, and it was the clients loved ones or angels coming forth in the session. So I was starting to see them. I was starting to feel their presence, feel their energy, feel their essence. I've always known that I was claircognizant. Like I just always had a knowing. I didn't know how I knew, but I knew. And then I knew I had gifts of clairaudience because I would just hear. But through my healing sessions, I started to see. So my clairvoyance started to get activated. Um, and so, I would be able to describe the client's loved ones that have crossed over. And I was just floored. I was just amazed at the energy that I was feeling, everything that I was seeing. I mean, no session is the same. I didn't know what was going to happen from one session to the next, but I just positioned myself to be a clear channel, a clear vessel, so that, spirit could come through or speak through me to me, you know what I mean, for the client. And I'm just honored by that, because I think that's just like really a special privilege, to be able to communicate between the living and the non-living, to give both parties peace.
Mm,
And
yes, because there's so much unknown, isn't it? When someone passes, and maybe there have been things that have been left unsaid or unknown, or trying to understand things a little bit more. It's such a gift to be able to offer that to others, to be able to
Yeah.
have more of that communication. Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, from there, once I started seeing that that was happening, I did seek out, I didn't really seek out the person. I just started, how when you're on your journey, the universe will start showing you signs and synchronicities for where to go next. And so then I started seeing mediumship classes pop up. So I'm like, okay, I felt like that was a sign from the universe. And so I took a class and a training class for that. And it was just amazing. It was about 5 or 6 other students, and we read for each other, and the teacher, trained us on how to do evidential mediumship. And so evidential mediumship is where you're providing evidence of that loved one that has crossed over, right? Describing their personality, describing memories, even their name, things that person would know, only that person would know. So that's the evidence part. And just like
Mm.
being able to create that trust between me as the reader and the client. And so yeah, I was just like so amazed. I so many different loved ones came through for those students, and I even read a pet. I even read a pet, and she said I got everything right. And I was just like, I can't believe I'm doing animal mediumship, so things like that. So it's just been exciting. I just love it. I love what I'm doing now, and yeah, I just love it.
Oh, it's beautiful. And was there ever a time that you felt fear? Because I know some others, a good friend, she started to see spirits and have these experiences. And it was quite scary for her at the start until she learned how to actually work with the energy. What was your experience with that? Was there a bit of a shock, or did it just flow?
No, I didn't feel any fear. Part of my surrendering on this spiritual journey, I just became very fearless. I don't feel any fear, and especially it actually came once I started reading and connecting with the spirit world. Something happened once I began to see the spirit in a different way, like the 5D, and we're here in the 3D. Something mystical happened. I don't know what, but it took all my fear away. And so no, I haven't had any fearful experiences with any of the spirits. The teacher at the time, he definitely taught us boundaries, having those healthy boundaries even with the spirits. So no, I haven't had any fearful experiences yet. Knock on wood, I guess. But again,
Yeah. Well, I think, also, mm, go
sorry.
ahead.
Um, I just wanted to say also, the intention. Intention has been so big for me, like lately, over this last year. I didn't, when everyone would talk about intention, I don't know. I just didn't connect with it at first, but now I understand it. So setting that intention going into the session is just so critical. And I definitely do that um, in any session, healing session, a tarot session, a mediumship session. So just setting that clear intention between you and spirit, because they kind of have to respect your boundaries.
Yes, yeah, I would assume that that's very important, and particularly kind of setting up that container of just divine love and the highest frequencies. This is
Mhm.
something I've learned through my own practices and teachings. Is again setting the intention that only the highest frequency will come
Yeah.
into this space, and anything of a lower frequency is welcome if it's ready to transform. But if it's not, cheers, see you later. You're out of here,
Yeah.
and that can really set the groundwork to make sure that you are really only having experiences that are there for transformation rather than something that might be of a much lower frequency that's kind of disruptive to the whole experience. Mm.
Absolutely. and also creating that sacred space, right? I smudge, I have my crystals around. So just again, that sacred space, creating an energy and an environment that's high vibrational for those loving spirits to come through with, messages.
Mm, yes, beautiful. And you know what? Like it really is not to be underestimated. I know sometimes, people think like, oh, that's lovely, it's kind of an optional thing, but actually I really believe now it is not optional. It is obligatory to create that sacred space. I just got back from Peru and spent some time with the spiritual masters in Peru, and just seeing the way that they create that sacred space and how absolutely critical it is that that is set up in a certain way, and then the level of elevation and ascension and the divine love that comes out of that is huge. So I just I've always talked about sacred space, and I am so even more of an advocate for it even now. Like it is actually very important and very serious that we do create that space before we do any kind of energetic work.
Yes.
um, I kind of want to shift gears a little bit and hear a little bit more about like how you integrate tarot with mediumship, because I would imagine that tarot, what I always love tarot as this kind of physical thing that you can see. Well, there's a picture, and that's why, you're telling me I should focus on family right now. But we know that we're working on an energetic level. And so I assume it probably plays a nice bridge between mediumship, which is very much in the ether, or can feel, like it's in the spirit world. And then you've got something that's a lot more tangible and physical. So how have you experienced that as you brought those together?
So the tarot has played a part in the sense of mm, messages, conveying messages for the client. That spirit is wants the client to know. Um, I remember, so like I said, I get messages on all the clairs. Everything's like ding, 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 ding. Everything's going off like a pinball machine in me, if you will. But they'll still give me images or imagery through the cards. Like I remember one time reading for a woman, and her loved ones, ancestors wanted her to know a storm was coming, right? Like she was going to be facing some turbulent times, right? And so they gave me the Tower, and
Mm.
they that let me know, and I think maybe the death card, right? So I knew change was coming, some kind of storm was coming, so they will give me, so I use it in the sense of like the imagery for tarot. That's how I incorporate it with the mediumship.
Yeah, amazing. Yes. And I'm curious, did you start using tarot before you did the certification program, or are you a little bit more methodical and went, okay, I want to get certified before I start including tarot in my sessions?
Oh no, I started with tarot, just kind of on my own at first, and so then I was like, I want to get certified for this because, again, I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just feel like, it's just so much. It's a language. And I just, kind of like Spanish, like I struggled in college with Spanish and I just couldn't get that language. And so I was just like, okay, I need guidance. I need structure. I wanted a program that could, help me create, consistency, right? And be dedicated to something. And so, that's where Biddy Tarot came in for me.
Yeah, fantastic. And what would you say were some of the highlights, or maybe like more the biggest transformations, things that really shifted for you when you were doing the certification program?
Especially my confidence, building my confidence. I'm a balance between, analytical and creative, right? And so it helped open up my creativity. and not be so logical, not be so analytical. And that's where I think I was getting stuck at, because there's so many different meanings for all of these cards. And it was like there was a blockage. I wasn't able to connect or tap into my intuition. I was just like, oh my God, I have to memorize all of these 10 meanings for one card, and it was just so overwhelming. But the program, the way you organize all of the content, because you provide a lot of information, which I appreciate, but it is organized. So the way you organize it and structure the program, it flows. Like, you've been doing this so long, so you know what I mean? Like that step by step process. So I appreciated the process of the program.
Mm. Yeah, beautiful. And at what point did you realize that you were ready to start offering tarot to your clients, like in paid sessions?
Especially after the how we had to read for different people, like the I can't think of the name. What do you call it?
On the Practice Tarot Readings
Yes,
platform in the community?
yeah, the
Yeah.
practice readings. Yeah, so once I did practice readings, and it was just so cool because I was reading for people all over the world, all in different countries. And I was just like so amazed, especially when they would write back their feedback and confirm what I was saying or seeing, so it just really reinforced energy, like, I don't have to see you. I don't, it's all energy. So to be able to connect with someone's energy in Ghana or Colombia, so it was just like amazing. So once I got the feedback, it was really starting to boost my confidence. And then I was also reading for friends of mine, not in a non-paid capacity, but I just was practicing, more practice, and they were telling me like, yeah, that, how did you know, or that this happened or that happened. So all of those things really just boosted my confidence. And also, I just, I pray to spirit a lot. I was like also just praying for confidence and courage, because those things I was really struggling with. I was just so shy, because I'm an introvert. I'm an introverted extrovert. And, just
Yeah,
having
I can relate.
and yeah, so just having that courage to put myself out there, you know. And one of the goals
Mm.
that I set for myself at the beginning of the year was I wanted to read on a private platform. And so I set the goal. I told my spirit team, I'm like, this is what I want to do. I set my intentions and my manifestations, and the private service. I had to do like an interview with them. I had to read for two people, two strangers, and I was so nervous. And I did amazing. And so they sent me a congratulation letter. This was at the beginning of the year, welcoming me to their platform. And so yeah, so the Biddy Tarot program has allowed me to read on a private platform as well as through my own business. And so again, I'm able to connect with more people and, help more people. So that's just been a blessing.
Yeah, I love it. Fantastic. And so what does, say, a typical week look like for you in the life of, Nicole at this point?
Um, well, I am a mom. I have a 13-year-old. I have a teenager. But outside of, taking care of him and being his personal chauffeur, um, I, I try to read a few days a week. I'm just building up my schedule. I don't want to take on too much. Because I do have other projects that I'm working on. I do sound healing, so I do that for corporations. So I have sound healing for, different clients. So just the two of pentacles, right? I'm like just juggling work life balance and everything. So I'm still kind of finding my way because I'm constantly growing. I'm like right now I'm going through a spiritual awakening. And so I'm still becoming who God wants me to be, right? So I'm still blossoming. I'm just feeling my way through. I kind of just take it one day at a time, one week at a time. I just don't get too far ahead. And I'm just trying to live in the present moment because I notice when I'm constantly thinking about, oh, I got to do this. I'm not being present. And then that's when that anxiousness comes, right? And so I just want to enjoy these moments because these are the moments that I prayed for. And so I just want to like relish in it a bit.
Yeah, I love that approach and just taking it as it comes in each moment. And it sounds like you've probably got a really beautiful flow right now where you can be flexible. You've got a few different things available to you, and it enables you to be there for your son and drive him around everywhere. I can relate with that one as well. And but also to be following your soul's calling at the same time and allowing the space for you to continue evolve. I don't know that we ever like finally reach the destination of, oh, now I know exactly who I am and I've become that person.
Right.
I think it's a lifelong journey. But yeah, it sounds like you're finding that flow. And we haven't touched yet on the sound healing, and I'm really interested to hear more about how you're bringing that into a corporate space as well. How did that originate, and how do you kind of position something that might be seen as a bit woo-woo, but to be able to bring it into a more mainstream environment?
Yeah, absolutely. So again, with this whole experience, I've just been flexible with the universe, right? So I've just been really allowing spirit to plant seeds in me. And again, I I hear the voice of spirit. So through their divine guidance, they suggested to go down this corporate route. So I'm also a licensed insurance broker that specializes in employee benefits. And so with my love for sound healing, right? With and my passion for wellness, I'm fusing the two, right? Because I have a background in corporate, you know, working for corporations when I was younger. And so I'm like, I want to blend the two. The creativity is the sound healing, the tarot, all of those intuitive things. But then I also am very analytical and I have that business mindset and entrepreneurial spirit. And so I'm like, okay, how can I combine the two spirit? And so then they gave me this idea to offer the corporate sound baths to corporations, that corporate wellness, and make it like an employee benefit, right? Because mental health is so important. And the sound healing, even though it's woo woo, it, it addresses that, it helps so many people. And so, that's kind of how I've been blending the two, in the corporate space.
Yeah, I think it's really smart. And I think say something like sound healing as woo woo. I think that like that's the perception, but you and I both know it's actually not woo woo. It is 100% part of wellness, mental health, which is a very key issue and prevalent issue that has huge impacts if it's not addressed properly. So I think you've done really well to um, position it as a wellness program, and to be able to do that in a corporate space where you can reach more people who may not necessarily be like open to it, to go, oh, I'm going to go to a sound healing session outside of work, but because it's being presented at work, they're getting to experience it.
Yes.
What have you seen as some of the transformations and the changes in the folks that you're working with? Do you see like some new awakenings happening?
Yeah. When they come to the sessions, they're kind of closed off a little bit, right? Because they don't know what to expect or experience. And, healing and the spiritual journey, it is a personal journey. It is a private journey, and so I am able to, through my calmness, they're able to receive that, right? So I'm able to help them open up naturally before they know it. And they're just like, you know, different from when they started or come into the session. And so it's just really beautiful to see people open up to relax, right? Because so many people are stressed, so many people are burnt out, so many people are just tired. They're just flat out tired. And, to give them that 40 minutes of deep rest, as you may know, sound healing can feel like hours of sleep, and it's
Mm.
just a sacred rest, I feel like, for the spirit, for the soul. And so yeah, so to be able to deliver that, it's just been wonderful to see how it affects everyone differently. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And I'm curious, like, many of our community are multi-passionate. So they might even still be working in corporate or in a day job, and then they're exploring tarot. And then maybe, similar to you, they might be interested in Reiki, mediumship, massage, sound healing, who knows, right? I'm curious, what advice would you have for someone who is just at that early stage of navigating what to do with all of these different passions? How do you kind of figure out what path to take and how to move forward with them?
Yeah, so on my personal journey, it's kind of like trial and error, if you will. I don't know. I've just been enjoying feeling my way through, and kind of seeing what I like, what I don't like, what I'll just keep for myself, what I'll offer to the community, to the world. Um, so I definitely encourage everyone to just be curious, to just explore. Start somewhere, do something. Listen to your spirit, because you're being guided to a particular modality for a reason. I even went for a reflexology certification. So 2021 was like my year of learning. I did Reiki certifications, reflexology, tarot, sound healing, you name it, I was doing it. And so, some everything stuck, but some things I said, okay, I'm gonna just keep this for myself, you know. Um, and like the reflexology, I love doing reflexology on my feet every night. Reflexology has so many benefits for everyone, because all of the organs are connected, the pressure points in the feet. So like I decided to keep reflexology just for myself. I decided to keep Reiki just for myself and share the sound healing, the tarot, and the evidential mediumship with the world. Again, just
Mhm.
curious and just get out there, do something positive. If it's uplifting, if it's contributing to humanity, go learn it. It may, um, you'll find use for it.
Mm. And I think that's an interesting distinction between what you want to keep for yourself versus share with the world, because I think many of these modalities that you've touched on are things that are like personal transformation tools. And so we can, there's so much value even if we just choose to keep it as our own personal transformation tool. I know many of our certification students even just get to the end of the certification program and they go, you know what, I've learned so much about myself and how to use tarot. I'm going to keep it for me. And
Mhm.
then we have another whole bunch of students similar to yourself that go, I love this. I'm going to share it with the world and, take it down that path. And I think both are really vital and important and highly valuable as well. And you don't have to necessarily feel that pressure to take something and to turn it into a business or an income generator and so on, there's still that value in going, yeah, I'm going to use reflexology to make sure that my body is healthy, and use it in that way. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's good
absolutely.
advice.
Yeah, and at first that is what I thought. I said I'm going to use all of these modalities to make money, to make a, have a business with. And that's just not what happened. I have learned to pivot on this journey. When I started over a year ago, again, I thought I was going to do all of these things, and I've pivoted several times. And Spirit let me know it's okay to change course, right? You're still on your destined path. You're still fulfilling your life purpose by serving and helping people, but we do have free will, and we can kind of pick and choose, what we keep for ourselves, what we share. But yeah, I have changed course a little bit, still on the path, still on the journey. But yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And, the more that you stay in the present moment, the more that feels aligned, rather than, because I know some people get a bit like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then they're changing, swapping, and it feels chaotic and, anxiety provoking. But I think like what you've shared, where you're just like, you know what, I'm just going to be whatever it is that's right for right now, and following the guidance to be in that space. And then from there, it just flows beautifully. So
Yes.
yeah, some really powerful insight there. Thank you. And I'm curious, like, what is coming up for the next, 6 to 12 months for you? Where do you see your practice moving towards?
So, on the side, so I have two companies. The newest one I formed for strictly the corporate side. So I have the Heart of a Goddess, and the Heart of a Goddess is my baby because she is me. I am her, right? She embodies everything that I stand for, everything that I believe in. And the Heart of a Goddess will be offering tarot readings, energy readings, intuitive coaching, um, and more personal services. And so then the new business that I'm forming is called Ambient Wellness, and that will cater to corporations for the sound healing for as an employee benefit. And so that is my core focus for the next 6 to 12 months. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited for both. And I'm just excited to have figured out what I'm meant to do here on this planet, because for over half of my life, again, like I said, my mom was like, Nikki, you're always soul searching when she was still here. I just was so confused. I'm like, why am I here? What is my purpose? I just felt so aimless. And so I'm just so excited to know what I'm here to do, and just, live in my purpose. I shared this little story on Instagram, but when I was a little girl, I remember saying that I wanted to be a teacher. And, you know, of course, in my mind, I thought I was speaking to a school teacher. And, when that didn't happen, I went down another path, so I thought, right? And so when I did my first corporate sound bath last month, is when I realized I was living in my manifestation. So I was co-creating with the universe as a little girl. I just didn't know it. And so I was living in my manifestation. I was the teacher that I asked the universe to be, right? Because I was teaching those women how to relax. I was teaching them mindfulness. I was teaching them breath work. I was teaching them to go within. And so, yeah, just being that teacher that I asked the universe for.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And no doubt, even, with your tarot readings, you were teaching people to reconnect with their intuition, to awaken that part of themselves once again. And even with mediumship, like teaching people how to connect on these different spiritual realms and energetic realms. Isn't it like, do you almost, I'm almost like, would want to go back to my little child self, my inner child, and give her a big hug and say thank you, you know, for laying this out for me. Because it's just, yeah, so insightful and so amazing how these dreams that we have as little children, how they actually do manifest and come true
Yeah.
in our lives. Mm.
Absolutely. And tarot has it's so insightful. Again, it's just giving me so much inner understanding of myself, and then I'm able to help others understand themselves, right? Because on this journey, I mean, it's a long journey. I mean, say you live 80 years, like it's a long journey. And so for over half of your life, at least until your maybe 30s, 40s, you're trying to figure it out, and so we get lost along the way sometimes, we get confused along the way. And so I just applaud myself and all of the tarot readers, all of the people that can see clearly to help those that can't, right? Because we're not always confused, right? But there are points in our journey that we lose our way and we kind of need that guiding light, and so I'm just grateful to be one of the light bearers, if you will.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. And the more light bearers that we have in this world, the better, because all of that starts to raise the global consciousness and activate all of this really beautiful intuitive energy in us. So thank you for like doing your part. And thank you also for saying yes to the certification program so that, we can support you with developing like those skills to then go and serve the world in this way. It's amazing.
Yes.
Where can people find out more about you, Nicole, and all of your amazing work?
Oh, yes. So my website is www.theheartofagoddess.com. And then I'm on Instagram, which the handle is The Heart of a Goddess Wellness. That's my handle on Instagram. So those are my two main platforms where anyone can find me.
Beautiful. And we'll make sure that we've got those also in the show notes or the links below wherever you're watching this, so that it is super easy to get in touch with Nicole. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing your journey and your story. I know that there will be so many people who can relate with your path, and particularly those who might be feeling like there's lots of different passions and pathways that they could take. And I really appreciate you sharing your insights and your wisdoms around how you were able to navigate that and, how it's lighting up your life now. I just think it's so inspirational and really do appreciate you sharing your story and your journey with our listeners.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well and your platform and everything you're doing for the community and humanity.
Oh, beautiful. Well, lots of big virtual hugs.
Yes.
And thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. Have a good morning where you are. Morning.
Yes, it is. Fantastic. Hey, if you loved this video, then make sure you check out this next video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. See you next time.